This One's Wife. More BS about Bellendgame. Hello, I'm hgtudor. The fallout from Bellendgame continues to rumble on. And rather than it being King Charles and the Princess of Wales who are having to fight a rearguard action, it's actually the improbably named plastic face, Weasley Lickspittle Lieutenant, Omid Scobie, who's having to do so. Hung out to dry by his handler and mistress, this one's wife, who has remained completely silent throughout all of this, offering him no support whatsoever, despite the fact that anybody with working brain cells know that the two have operated in tandem in relation to these disclosures. Omid Scobie has found himself in a rather lonely place. And as a consequence of this, he continues to scramble to try and protect his own shitty little reputation. Natasha Anderson in the Mail writes, Omid Scobie insists controversial Bellendgame was written at lightning speed, despite announcing book in July last year, amid fallout from race row sparked by Dutch translation. Oh dear, Omid. Your fibs and your lies and your fabrications, as soon as they spill from your mouth, they're picked up on and torn apart and find themselves in newspapers. Omid Scobie has insisted that Bellendgame was written at lightning speed, despite the author having first promoted his controversial book about the royal family more than a year before it was published. So either it's another lie, or he sat around doing Sweet Fanny Adams until suddenly he put finger to keyboard. Scobie has come under fire after a Dutch translation of the book appeared to accuse King Charles and the Princess of Wales of racism, after this one's wife claimed that concerns had been raised about the skin colour of her son Archie in her bombshell Oprah interview in 2021. Mail Online last week revealed how a Dutch translator insisted that she had been sent a manuscript which named the two senior royals. And of course, we all know we believe. The Times later reported that Scobie's British publisher had sent a draft copy to the Dutch translator which contained the names. Dear oh dear. Scobie has now insisted that he wrote his book at lightning speed, despite first announcing in July last year that he was working on a brand new book about the royal family. Several months later, in December last year, so a year ago, he announced the book's title, Bellendgame. It comes after the royal family last night put on a united front amid the fallout from Scobie's race row by attending the Buckingham Palace Christmas diplomatic reception. See parts passim for the contrast between the Princess of Wales and this one's wife, causing a tiara ignition of fury. The King is expected to consult with his son, Prince William, this week to discuss going round to Scobie's flat, dragging him out of bed in his Winnie the Pooh pyjamas, giving him a good shoeing and pissing him on him in the street. Furthermore, they're considering all options, including legal action. The Sussexes have not commented publicly on the row, but a source close to this one's wife denied leaking the names to Scobie. Well, naturally she would do, wouldn't she? Denial being the first line of the twin lines of the narcissistic defence. In these circumstances, she denies any involvement. And of course, because she has no emotional empathy for her lieutenant, she's not going to ride into battle on his behalf to defend him. It's far easier to cut him adrift, let him take the flag. In part, it's achieved what she wanted, to smear the royal family, albeit it hasn't worked, but she wanted to get the smear out there, and that's what he's done. The backlash has meant that people are saying, Scobie, you deserve to be taken to the tower, you treasonous little weasel. And nobody believes that the King or the Princess of Wales are racist. Thus, it's an epic failure from the Duchess of Epic Failures, aided by her lapdog. And, of course, while she faces repeated challenge fuel as a consequence of people knowing that she's involved and rejecting it, Scobie scrambles around, insisting rather badly that it wasn't him, that it is the fact that it's somebody else's fault and not his. Scobie has refused to apologise to Charles and Kate for the embarrassing mishap, which resulted in the explosive book being hucked from the shelves in the Netherlands. The under fire author has shrugged off criticism, claiming the names were known for a long time, and instead put the blame shifting, at the Dutch publisher's door. The author has said in interviews last week that he wondered why the Sussexes did not continue the discussion after this one's wife accused an unnamed royal of expressing concern about her future son Archie's skin colour in her Oprah Winfrey chat in 2021. He told how the row disappeared out of sight, despite the couple having a chance to say more about it in their Netflix documentary and Harry's memoir, Spare. Could it be that they didn't? Because in essence, nothing was really actually said about it, and they didn't resurrect it because it wasn't on the radar. They did, of course, in the context of the Oprah interview, which was the machination of this one's wife, trying to smear and engender sympathy. And at the time, that worked because it was at the beginning of many people starting to realise what she was about. Informed individuals through my channel knew full well beforehand precisely what she was about, but much of the world didn't. Now, they don't accept it. They've seen too much of her crybaby, victimhood, playing the race card behaviour to accept that this is a legitimate criticism of King Charles and the Princess of Wales. Scobie has been widely described as this one's wife's mouthpiece, but neither she nor Prince Harry has so far spoken up in defence of the royals over highly damaging accusations of racism. The fallout from the book could have serious consequences for Harry and this one's wife, as William is believed to want action. Determinedly, the royal family has adopted a business-as-usual stance, which of course is the most effective thing to do with the gruesome twosome, just ignore the shitheads. But the possibility of legal action remains. The final decision on the next step rests with Charles, who, according to sources, will not act hastily. William wants action because he's sick and tired, as a normal, of seeing these two casting aspersions and throwing smears. And furthermore, he will not be happy with the fact that they have done so in relation to his wife, who he loves and has emotional empathy for. The king, of course, also faces a threat to control in relation to his facade, with having such accusations made against him. And therefore, so far he's nullified the threats to control by simply ignoring them. But he may wish to go on the offensive in order to assert control. The way that could be through legal action. But what they would need to ensure is that they have a clear cause of action, which potentially is in relation to defamation, and that they have a strong case. Because, of course, this one's wife, and particularly Scobie, will deny any wrongdoing in that regard. Therefore, it's important when embarking upon something like this to have a clear cause of action and the evidence to support it. And in the circumstances, action could then be taken with a suitable outcome, which would then strike a blow against Scobie and also indirectly against the Sussexes. A palace source has said most right-thinking people would expect an apology. Who wouldn't? Being falsely branded a racist in print is a serious allegation that must be treated seriously. All options are still on the table. Sources close to the Sussexes have attempted to distance the couple from the book. They say this one's wife never intended the King or Princess of Wales to be publicly identified in the race row. Bullshit. And say the letter was not leaked to Scobie by anyone close to her. More bullshit. Meanwhile, Harry and this one's wife are facing a mounting backlash as they continue to maintain their silence on the royal racism claims. It then goes on to mention the bill that's been put forward to strip them of their titles, etc. The point is that with this, once again, Scobie is attempting to save his own neck and just digs himself deeper, as the more that he attempts to extract himself from what everybody knows really happened, just makes him look worse and worse. And the King and the Princess of Wales look better and better, because they're not the ones that are telling the lies. This one's wife becomes tainted by extension as a consequence of her close relationship, despite what she says with Omid Scobie. Nobody's fooled by that, but once again it shows what a dimwit she is, because she thinks that by keeping a distance from him, people will accept there's no connection between them, even though everybody, bar the sugars, realises there is. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.